Okay, welcome to NaNoWriMo 101, a workshop with the NaNoRDU region, which is in Raleigh-Durham, in case you are viewing this later and don't know who we are. So I am Rekka Stormborn, also known as Heather, or you can just call me Rekka, or Hey ML, or I don't know, Wave. I respond to a lot of things. But I am one of 4 Municipal Liaisons, or MLs, for the Raleigh-Durham region, and we are here to help support everybody who wants to write with us this month. So I have been doing this this will be my 11th attempt at NaNoWriMo, and this will be my 6th year as an ML for Raleigh-Durham. I love this region. You are some of the best people to write with ever. So I'm really excited to be here. So I will pass it off to, I guess, Sadie, and then Mariah can go last and launch into our workshop.
Hello, I'm Sadie. I'm Ellen Longhorn on the forums, and I've been doing Nano for 10 years, and I've been a ML for 4. I love doing this. I love meeting people through it. I tend to write a lot of fantasy and sci-fi stuff, and then I work in retail, as I mentioned earlier, so my life is dedicated to weird schedules and craziness, so that helps me sort of schedule not traditional time write-ins. And you can always just, I don't know, I love stickers, so that's me.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mariah. I'm Ink Dancer on the forums and basically everywhere on social media you could ever want to find me. I also answer to Hey You, and Help I Need an Adult. This will be my 5th year as an ML, but I have actually been doing Nano since 2002. I'm an old person. It's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. So Nano has seen me through getting engaged and married and having a kid and having morning sickness during Nano. So yeah, I've been through a little bit of everything. So if you need any support at all because you feel like everything's gonna just absolutely fall apart, come find me. I can reassure you it will not. You will be fine. You will live and you will succeed and you will be victorious in all of your endeavors. So our other ML who is not here today is Larissa. She is Ink Flame Writer on the forums. She is an absolute delight, and you should all hug her with your brains because she is out today and we miss her and we love her. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. So for this first part, I don't really have anything to share on the screen. I'm just going to be going over some basic Nano vocabulary at first. So of course, the first really big question is, what the heck is Nano anyway? So Nano stands for NaNoWriMo, or National Novel Writing Month. And this was first developed in 1999 among a group of friends just as a challenge to try to write 50,000 words in 30 days. And eventually they settled on November as the month to do this. And ever since then, it has been this huge thing. And we get participants, literally hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world participate in this challenge to try to write 50,000 words in a month. And Raleigh-Durham is actually one of the most active regions in the world. As of a couple of years ago, we had over 900 homed writers. So go us, that's fantastic. And it also means that we have a really great, really diverse and interesting community. I absolutely love working with Raleigh-Durham just because of the absolute vibrancy of the writers that we have here. So the rules for Nano are pretty simple and pretty flexible. The only hard and fast rule is you count the words that you write during November. Some people are Nano purists. They want to start a brand new novel on November the 1st and try to hit the end by November the 30th. Some people are a little more flexible. Some people want to start something new, but if they don't hit the end and they still hit 50,000 words, that still feels like a victory to them. Others of us have ADHD, and writing just one thing during November is a recipe for failure and sadness. So some of us just try to write as many words as our little hearts can possibly churn out. And whatever project that happens to be on, we made words. Yay! Really, the measure of victory for us as the MLs is, are you having fun? Do you feel like you've gotten to write? Because we know that life happens. Like, I've got a full-time job and a 3-year-old, and like, I think I've written maybe 1,000 words all year, maybe. And so for me to come out the other side of November, if I've written more than 1,000 words, I've done more than I've done all year, and that to me is still a win. Um, so you can, you know, work on a project you've already started. You can not write a novel at all, work on your dissertation, write a screenplay. Like, we are here to support you in whatever creative endeavor this month is leading you towards. And we're not going to judge if that doesn't look like the perfect nano novel. Um, so there are some things that you should know just in terms of vocabulary, because in the over 20 years that this has been going, Nano has kind of developed its own little community and its own little pidgin, and we definitely have a dialect. So we wanted to introduce some of those terms to you. So one of the first things is the most important is RIMO. WRIMO. You'll see that in a lot of official communications. You'll see that in a lot of communications from us. RIMO is just short for writer. Any participant of NaNo, anyone who's affiliated with our group is a RIMO. So that is all of you lovely people. That is me and Heather and Sadie and Larissa, all of us. We are RIMOs. Next is ML, which is short for Municipal Liaison. That is just a really fancy term for unpaid volunteer leader. Basically, it means that we are the people who talk to HQ for you. We try to organize events. We try to make sure that this community is unified. We act as cheerleaders, uh, conflict resolvers, moderators, friends, shoulders to cry on, sometimes moms. Um, we do a little bit of everything to make sure that you're getting through this month successfully, feeling healthy and happy and productive. We also have for that's specific to the Raleigh-Durham region, a term WM or warrior minion. These are unofficial volunteer assistants to the MLs. These people host write-ins, help moderate our chat spaces, and offer other support. You won't encounter this term in other regions, but these people are like MLs light. We have endowed them with a small amount of authority just to help us get things going. So the next very important thing, what is a write-in? You're going to hear us talk about this a lot. A write-in is just a time where we get together and write. In the past, these have been physical. This year, because of the state of the universe, they won't be, but that means that we get to see a lot of people who we don't always get to see. Heather and I work, actually all three of us work in Chapel Hill, but Heather lives in Raleigh, Sadie lives in Chapel Hill, I live in Apex. Most of my write-ins are in Cary, most of Heather's are in Raleigh. And so people tend to go where they can reach. And that doesn't matter as much this year. So we'll actually get to spend more time getting to know everyone, which I am so, so excited about. So this year, all of our write-ins will be virtual. Um, the purpose of a write-in is to get together and attempt to write. Depending on the day and who's there, this attempt generally has varying degrees of success. Some of our write-ins are really casual, and it's just like, getting coffee with your friends and writing whenever you remember to. Others are very, very focused, all business, come in, everybody's going to have their headphones on, heads down, typing, 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 or handwriting if that's what you prefer. So over time, you'll get to know the other writers who host write-ins and attend write-ins, and you'll get a feel for how different ones tend to go. Um, so this year, because they're all virtual, it's going to be a little different from the way they've been in the past. But we're still going to do a lot of the same things that we have done for those of us who've participated before. We're still going to have incentives. We're still going to have sprints and word wars and all of those things. So we're still going to be doing what we can to support your productivity and also support building a community, which is so, so important as we've all felt so isolated lately. So yes, Brittany, we will have some on Discord, some on Slack, some on Zoom. I think those are our 3 primary locations. I don't think we have any others. But we don't necessarily prohibit others. If there's somebody who really wants to do like a Facebook Live or a Twitch stream or whatever, absolutely welcome to do that as well. Discord, Slack, and Zoom are the ones that are kind of ML, the ones that we use as our official channels, but the others are fine. Chana, is that how you pronounce your name? Hannah, sorry, Hannah. Discord is very similar to Slack, but Slack does not have voice capabilities, which Discord does. So very, very similar, still text app platforms that you can access in your phone or via your computer. So really it's about whatever is comfortable for you. I don't use Discord because then I end up getting into my gaming chats and I get completely distracted. So I try to keep all my Nano stuff on Slack so that I actually do what I'm supposed to be doing. But it's just about what feels comfortable for you. So we'll run all of the above. Eliza, I will get to that in a minute. Because I want to cover a couple of other terms before that. So some other terms that our newbies may not know are par and daily par. So in order to achieve the goal of writing 50,000 words in 30 days, that breaks down to an average of 1667 words per day. And that 1667 number is referred to as par. You'll often see references to making par in the forums or in Nano communications, and that's just our shorthand for achieving 1667 words on any given day. Daily par refers to the number of words you should have on a given day to be on track to finish on time. So on day 3, this would be 5,000 words. On day 29, this would be 48,333. For NaNoRDU, these goals are particularly important because we provide additional incentives and rewards for RIMOs who meet those goals. So if you hear us talking about, have you made par? I haven't made par in days, or I made par for today, but I'm behind overall. That's what we're talking about, is the number of words you need to have in order to be on track to win. Another important piece of vocabulary, when. This word just means you wrote 50,000 words in 30 days. You do not have to prove this to anyone. There's no validation. There's nobody going behind you and reading your book to make sure that you wrote 50,000 words. A win is between you, yourself, and your conscience. We are here to support you. We are not here to gatekeep and tell anyone that, oh, you didn't do well enough, or oh, you didn't do XYZ. No, this is a personal goal for you. We want everyone to win. Winning isn't about beating other people. Winning isn't about being the first to make it there. Winning is about achieving your personal goals. Success is possible for all of us. And so that's what we're here to do our best to make sure you are able to do. All right, so two more terms that you may hear are sprints and word wars. Sprints and word wars are very similar. Both of these are extremely focused periods of time, usually between 5 and 20 minutes, for you to focus on your writing. You can, of course, take a sprint as short or as long as you want. But the idea is to sit down without any distractions and just type furiously, absolutely focused for that amount of time. For us, 5 to 20 minutes is the standard. You can go longer if that works for you. Again, ADHD, sitting for longer than 30 minutes, not ideal, not ideal. But for a sprint, the idea is really to compete against yourself, is how fast can I type? How well can I do? Can I make it this time? A word war is about challenging other people, seeing, okay, which of us can write the most in the next 15 minutes? But other than that, they're almost completely interchangeable. So you will find that both of these terms are used in the forums. Both of these terms are used by write-in hosts, and you can find both of these terms used on Twitter. There is a really, really great Twitter account called NaNoWriMo that for the entire month of November hosts sprints basically around the clock. To help people get focused and stay motivated. There are also some word war accounts. There are some other Twitter accounts like the 5 a.m. Writers Club who host sprints and word wars, trying to encourage people to be as productive as possible. So if that's something that works for you, we will be having sprints during our write-ins. But if you're ever online and there's not a write-in at that time and you want to write with others, you're welcome to post either in our local forum that you'd like to run some sprints, or go find people on Twitter, go find people in Nano Discord channels or Slack channels, host sprints and word wars yourself, find them wherever you like. These have been, for me, these are absolutely the key to my productivity. And I find that they're really helpful for a lot of people. So go forth, sprint with abandon, do the thing. Um, So Eliza asked a great question that involves some other vocabulary that is nano-specific, and that is pantser or planner. So these two words describe your style for preparing for NaNoWriMo. Planners does what it says on the tin. These are the people who have outlines, story arcs, character arcs, book Bibles. They know what they're going to do. The only thing they have to do is sit down and write it. Pantsers, we fly by the seat of our pants. We might have a title, we might have a one sentence idea of what we want to write, or we might have started a book, but we don't know where it's going. So you can kind of fall in between. I absolutely love the term that one of our writers coined, cargo pantser, which is you're a pantser, but your pockets are stuffed full of things. You've got maybe a name list, maybe a vague story arc, kind of somewhere. So I love the idea. Cargo pantser, plantser is also used as a hybrid term. Both of those are totally valid, and you'll see those used other places. So I definitely love the cargo pantser idea because that's really very apt to what I am. I have lists of names and lists of places, and I have all these resources that I can go to keep me from getting stuck. But in terms of where the story's going, who the heck knows? I don't know. I have a cover for every book in the trilogy, and I have no idea what happens in any of them. I'm a disaster. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So that is our basic vocabulary. Are there any other terms that you have heard us use that are unfamiliar or anything that wasn't clear? All right. If at any time somebody says something and you're like, what the heck does that mean? Feel free to type it in the chat. We will get back to you. And now I am going to turn it over to my lovely Heather and Sadie.
So I'm going to walk through some various things on the site. Some of this might be review for some of you, some of this might not. Sadie is going to share her screen and walk through stuff and navigate the computer for me. So if there's some disjointedness between what is being said and what is happening on the screen, that's because there's two people doing it. So we're going to start with the very basics for people who might find this without having joined the site yet, for how to join the site. So give Sadie's screen a minute to pop up. Okay, so we are on the NaNoWriMo homepage, which you can just type nanorimo.org or www.nanorimo.org and it will get you there. And you'll see this beautiful thing. And you'll have an option to sign up or sign in. So we're gonna walk through sign up just so that you can see it. It will ask for an email address and a password, and you can pick your time zone. But that's really about it. Once you've filled in all of the information and you've have read and agreed to the terms, that sign up button will turn green and you will be able to sign up. Since we all already have accounts, Sadie's going to sign in. And just while she's doing that, a quick caveat, there will be a few things that you might see on our screens that you won't see on your screens because we're MLs and MLs have special powers and access to special things so that we can help facilitate your experience going well. So that might be the answer to what's that? I don't remember seeing that, but we'll try and cover those as we go. So
secret, secret, hush, hush, hush.
So we are signed in. We're going to start with the basics of projects first, because that's really the most important part. You can announce a project a couple of different ways, and this is creating your novel. So you'll see that lovely banner across the top that says creativity is all around you. There will be a banner similar to this at the beginning of most sessions of a NaNoWriMo event. This one in November, which is the main event, and then camp in April and July will have similar banners, but there is a announce your novel, or it might say announce your project for camp. And that is one way to go about it. And when you click on that button, it'll take you to the same screen we're going to show you in the other way. So if you go to My NaNoWriMo in the menu, this is kind of your main thing. If you click on that directly, it takes you to kind of your home screen, but we're going to jump down to projects. And we have all of the lovely projects that Sadie has done, some of which get cooler names than others. And you will notice there's announce a new project button at the top. And we're going to click that button this time. And it's going to bring up the exact same dialogue the other button does. Anywhere you click create a new project, this is the dialogue you're going to get. So you can enter the name, the status, are you prepping, are you drafting, are you editing, you have options. How public you want it to be. Most people leave it public, but if it's something that you want to track just for you outside of an event, you can do it as just you or just your buddies can see it. You know, it gives you the ability to control who can see what you're doing. And then there are type options. Typically for November, that's going to be novel, but there are other options. So you can announce right away that, you know, I want to rebel this year and write short stories, or I'm working on a memoir instead of a novel. And that's all 100% fine. At this time of year, it'll automatically select that associate with an event. It does that normally right before an event starts and right after it starts. So there is actually a drop-down list there. So if you're ever, you know, there's a lot of options, but it'll default to the currently running one. And then you just go on to your goal. And that is automatically filled in when you associate it with a November NaNoWriMo event, because it anticipates that you're writing a 50,000 word novel in 30 days. So it fills all this in for you. If you are creating a personal goal, you get to dictate all of the values here. And on to details. And except for that goal part, when you associate it with an event, everything else you can edit later, just so that you know that. You can pick a genre, And you can enter a summary and an excerpt, and if you have a Pinterest page or a playlist for it, you can add all that information. This is all entirely optional. You don't even have to pick a genre if you don't want to. And then when you save project, it's going to post it as your new project. And there it is. Ooh, cats in clouds. That sounds interesting. I am intrigued. Okay, so that was creating a project. The other neat thing you can do is add a goal to an existing project. So if you're someone like Mariah, who is, trying to finish the thing that she wrote last year, or has one project for tracking all of the various things she's working on during a year, you'll notice on past projects, there's that little create a new goal button. And that gives you options. And one of them is to associate it with an event. It won't actually let Sadie do that right now because she already has something associated with NaNoWriMo. It will never automatically select an event in this screen, but you do have that option. And you can pick your goals and again, the type of goal that you're doing, that sort of thing. So if you start writing the novel in November, you can then add a goal at camp and edit it. So that's kind of a neat thing that they have for us now. So she'll cancel out of that screen since we're not actually doing that. Okay. And you have a lot of options to customize what people see about you on the site. You'll notice that across the top, you have tabs for profile, projects, buddies, and groups. We'll talk about all of these. Most of these are also in your My NaNoWriMo menu. So you can get to a lot of things 2 different places. So whichever way she wants to go, we're going to go to profile. And this is all the information that Sadie has decided to share with the world of NaNoWriMo. You can add things like favorite books and favorite authors and a description of yourself, an avatar. You can select some custom badges. So if you scroll down a little further as she did previously, keep going. There you go. These are badges you can give yourself, like, are you a pantser or a plantser or a planner? I think there's one for telling people about it. There's, all sorts of fun things. You can hover over and it'll tell you what it is. There's one for telling the world that you have voted this year because it's important to participate. Or if you did the Stay Home Rimo back in, when was that? March? I don't remember. Sadie did it. She might remember. So badges. The badges are easy. The badges above that are ones you earn as you progress through the goal. So updating your word count, earning a badge, writing certain numbers of words, you'll earn different badges for those. And I'll show you how you notice when you've earned those along the way. So if we scroll back up to the top, there's a lot of different ways to get to editing your information. You'll notice in the favorites box, the about box, and under your avatar picture, there's all those little edit icons. So you can pick any one of those and it'll take you to the edit profile screen. And it'll be on whatever tab you've selected. So in this case, it's under bio, but you can also navigate to those other tabs from here. At least I believe you can. Yeah. Update that. How many times we've done that. But you can go to details, which is your avatar and, well, not your avatar, but your username, your location. If you have a website, you can share that. Stats, I don't remember what that does. Oh, apparently it lets you pick some things. I think that's new this year. I don't think that was there last year. So you can pick kind of what metrics you want to see on your stats page. And then we looked at, Wordy's project. We looked at bio. Favorites, again, is that books and authors box. And then your avatar, you can upload an image. We put our faces because we want to be recognizable since we're MLs and we're helping represent HQ, and we want you to be able to find us in the write-in or when we're out at actual write-ins in the restaurant or cafe or wherever we happen to be. So That's why we use our faces. You don't have to. You can use whatever cool online avatars you have, or art, or pictures of your dog or cat or mouse or whatever pets you have. The other option is your cover plate, which is, if you see behind it, that typewriter image, everybody gets the default image, but you can pick whatever you would like. Oh, that's where the stats go. That's the 3 stats that display on that picture. That's what that setting is for. I knew there was something. Yeah. And depending on how many times you've done this and what stats are in the system for you, those might display different things. They're potentially still in development, so they may look a little wonky sometimes, but that is the bulk of profile information, what you're going to look like. The other thing I wanted to talk about is buddies. Buddies are a way to keep track of your friends on NaNoWriMo, whether this is someone you met during an event or a write-in or someone you know in real life. You can search for their username in the top bar above the NaNoRDU logo. And she's searching for me. And that will pull up a list of potential people. And if you have a relatively unique username like I do, one person will show up on this list. If you type in something very common like writer, you're going to get a couple of 100 or 1,000 results, and you might have to narrow it down a little. But you can click on them to go to their page, and you can see all of my stuff when it loads. So as it loads, the point of sending somebody a buddy request, it gives you an additional way to contact them. So you'll be able to use nano messaging, which we'll get to in a little bit, to communicate with them. You'll also be able to easily find them on your buddy list, to come to their profile page to check and see, like, how are they doing this year? How's their project going? That sort of thing. And of course, it doesn't want to load. We'll see if we can get the internet to behave. There we go. All right. And you can see that I am a little bit more verbose than Sadie in many ways, but in one of them on my profile information. So Sadie and I are already buddies. So you'll notice that under my avatar, there is a remove buddies option. And it tells me that that we're already buddies. But if we weren't buddies yet, there would be a button that says send invitation. Yeah, I promise to accept this invitation later. And if you have an invitation out, it says cancel invitation. So that's kind of how you go through buddies. And we can, I guess, look at my buddy tab while we're here, or we can look at yours, whichever you'd like to do, Sadie. But this is under your My NaNoWriMo section in the main menu. There's a buddies, or you can go straight to the tab. There we go. And this is where you accept and reject buddy requests that are out. So someone you recognize, like that one, you can accept right away. Other people that you might not recognize, you can just leave them there, or you can try and reach out to them other places. You will also notice there is a block option. We hope nobody ever has to use this, but if a Rimo somewhere on the NaNoWriMo website, whether they be real or a bot or a malicious account that's not actually a single human, if they become problematic, you have the option to block them so they can't communicate with you. If you ever have to do that, I would encourage you to save their username and either tell one of your MLs or in some way report that to HQ staff so that they know that someone is not being nice. Because this is a wonderful and lovely community and we would like to keep it that way. Okay. And you'll also notice she has the option to cancel the invitation she sent to me. So if she had typed a username wrong and she saw somebody to write in and said, hey, I sent you a buddy invite, and they look and they don't have it, and you realize you typed the username in wrong, so you invited the wrong person to be your friend, you can cancel that invitation. So this gives you a lot of control to see what's going on and what you want to do with buddies. So I don't know if anybody noticed while we were wandering around the site that there are these two icons kind of up in the top right that have that little red circle notification icon. The first one looks like a speech bubble, and this doesn't have numbers yet, but it's just an indicator of yes, you have new, or no, you do not, and that is your messages. So this has a couple of different things in it. You'll notice buddies. So if you click on buddy, you can see and send messages to that buddy, and you'll see a history if there's a history of messages. But the other thing you have is official messages. Those come from the regions you're a member of. For example, us, you'll see all our notifications full of links and lots of information for all of you. You'll also see any other regions you've joined. Sadie is not alone in being a member of both RDU and Chapel Hills region, because as we said, all three of us work there. She technically lives there. But there's a lot of people that kind of go back and forth, and we're very, very close. And they know that some of their folks also come to our events, and we go to some of their events. So they have lovely MLs as well. So if that's something that you want to do at any point, we encourage that. I'm also a member of several regions that I once lived there. So I might know people from there, or I just kind of like to see, you know, what's happening where I went to college as far as Nano goes, you know, that kind of thing. So you can be a member of as many regions as you want, and we'll cover how to join regions later. The other thing is HQ. So NaNoWriMo HQ will send messages. There are settings to decide how much of all of these official messages get emailed to you as well. And if email is how you function, awesome, have them emailed to you, and that will make it so much easier to see all of these things. I don't function in email outside of my job, so I don't have any of this emailing to me. And we will find that setting, because I forgot to show you guys that setting. But that's your messages, so that's your ways to communicate. Right now, as far as individual users, you can only communicate with people that are on your buddy list. So if through the site is your preferred way to communicate with MLs, and you're not on Slack or Discord, or aren't comfortable reaching out to us on those platforms or the forums for any reason, I pretty much accept any friend request that comes to me. So if you need a way to get in touch with the MLs, you can send me a buddy request, and I will always accept that, and you'll be able to communicate with me. I can't promise I'll see them often, because it's a little hard to check these. So we encourage you to use the forum messaging system, which we'll cover a little later, as it's a little bit more reliably gonna get our attention. But it is an option, and I will see it eventually, just maybe not the same day. Okay, does anybody remember where the email settings live? Because I forgot to cover that. Ah, Sadie remembers. So anywhere you see hi username, there are options there. So you have account settings, privacy settings, preferences, and that lets you know what goes in your notifications, what emails you get. There is an option to delete your account if you ever need to, or if you accidentally sign up again instead of logging in, because stranger things have happened. And the privacy settings, I think, let you set some defaults about like who can see what about your projects by default, if I'm remembering right. Yeah, so who sees what about you. So you can keep things pretty locked down to just your buddies, or you can have it open to everybody. MLs tend to have open to everybody because it's kind of what we're here for. So, and if you make a change, it'll have a save changes. You can also reset things to defaults. So yeah, okay. Next, I was gonna go over that other icon. Yeah. Actually, save changes. So the other icon is a bell, and that is your notifications. And that's gonna pop up a little window, which is gonna tell you things that have happened recently. So buddy requests that you have accepted, buddy requests that have come in for you. We're MLs, so we get a lot of notifications about events that we need to review. But this is also where you'll see, depending on the settings that you picked, notifications about your badges, notifications about buddy requests and those kind of things. There's also, you can jump straight to your preferences from here, but there's also a view all feature. Yeah, and that'll take you straight to your preferences. But view all will take you to a bigger view of this. And that's kind of a personal preference. I have trouble reading it in such a tiny, tiny space. So I like coming to the big page and then I can scroll through and see all the things. So that is notifications. Okay. And I'll be honest, there is a ton to explore. I did skip a thing that I wanted to highlight on messaging. If you'll jump back to messages. There's ways to format. It's limited, but there is some formatting options. So if you type a little bit in that chat box and then you highlight something, it gives you a little dialogue of options. So you can do bold and italics and underline. That little hashtag is how you add a link to something. So if you click on that, it'll give you another little box and you type your link and you can check to accept it or X to cancel that request. Heading 2 and 3 are just make the text big and pretty. And I don't actually know what that other button does. It's something about quotings, but I don't know, send the message. We'll see what it does. I think it's supposed to be some kind of quoting feature where you can say like, this bit that I'm putting in the message is a quote from somebody else, but I'm not entirely sure. We like playing with things and testing things out and seeing what it does. Yeah, I don't know either. And sometimes you'll find things like that. The site is only a year old in this, well, a year and a half maybe.
Not even a full half. It launched August of last year.
Yeah, it launched August of last year. So there's still a few kinks in the system. So if you run into something weird, you'll notice there's a help desk link up at the top of the screen. That is a useful place. So if you encounter problems, they have help things about, the basics, your account, your profile, all of that in that box on the right. But they also have ways for you to help you report a bug. If you encounter something really weird, like it won't let you create your project, or you created your project and then it disappeared. I think they've solved both of those problems, but those were things that happened last year. So. And you can also always reach out to us if you're like, it's supposed to work. Do you know why it's not working? And we might be aware of a bug, or we might be able to make sure that you're doing all of the right steps. So that is something to keep in mind. And then back to the site. There is a lot to explore with the site. So I'm going to kind of highlight the menu structure as a really helpful way to find what you're looking for. I mean, they've named them fairly self-explanatory. There's My NaNoWriMo, Community, and Writers Resources. And underneath each of those, there'll be the label, but then a little blurb about what that is. So profile is tell other Rhymos about you. And there's the vocabulary word again. And then under community, it has the forums. We'll cover how you make sure you have a home region in this menu. Groups we're not necessarily going to go over in detail this session, but finding a region is something that we are going to go to next. But there's also ways to get involved and learn more about NaNoWriMo. And then under writing resources, Camp Nano is just information about those challenges in April and July. Nano Prep is going on now. I'll be honest, I am usually too busy doing ML prep to worry about prepping my own, but I'm also mostly a pantser, so that's okay. But if you are a planner, there's a lot of really good resources, and I think they have resources for pantsers as well. So there's a lot of good stuff there. They also have pep talks. So if you're ever not feeling great and you can't find an ML or a warrior minion in RDU or a fellow Rimo who can kind of cheer you on and cheer you back up, you can always go find pep talks. They have a lot of them. And then offers is discounts and other things from NaNoWriMo sponsors. So Scrivener, for example, usually has an offer. If you don't already have Scrivener or are interested. But as you can see, there are a lot of them. I haven't even heard of all of them because I don't always make it to this page until November. But we encourage you to explore here, and you might find a really cool new thing that is very interesting and intriguing to you that you can get a discount on. A lot of these offers will also have an even better version if you win NaNoWriMo. It can be part of your winner goodies. Usually they mention that on this page, I believe. Yeah. Yes. So it does give you the note about winners versus participants. I knew it was somewhere. I can read, I swear. So that's kind of like, explore the menus, wander around, read things. The other thing I want to highlight before we go find a region is the homepage. So if you just click on the big NaNoWriMo or the shield, I think they're both links, that takes you back to your landing page. So when you first sign in, this is what you see. And it'll show you your currently active project. It'll show you your badges. The buddies bit they're still working on, but if you scroll down a little bit, there's some additional bits here. You'll be able to see your writing groups. The stuff from HQ looks like it's still updating, but you'll notice on the left, there's a list of events, and that comes straight from your home region. So we're about to show you how to find a region and how to home to a region. So that'll be interesting stuff there. And then if you scroll down a little more, there's a highlighted thing from the Nano store, their Twitter account, a highlighted offer, and then there's a pep talk in the bottom. So to remind you where those are. So this is really cool. And this is still a developing piece of the site. So eventually that buddies block will have more information, and the NaNoWriMo HQ block will have more information. So it'll be really fun to see how all this develops. So the next thing is, we've talked about regions, but I don't think we actually defined regions. Whoops. Regions are an area that has a volunteer ML willing to organize events. This can be as broad as a whole state or even a whole country, or this can be as narrow as, Chapel Hill and Raleigh RDU are. Raleigh Durham.
There's even like Central LA versus West LA when you get into the really big cities.
Yeah. I don't know if New York City broke up like that, but like, yeah, you can get very granular, it can be a lot in those big areas. But under the community menu, one of your options is find a region. And this is a quick way to see, am I in a region? Have I joined a region? Because you can see her two are on the top. But then you can find a region anywhere. I recommend, if you're looking for ours, search for Raleigh, because Raleigh is unique. But if you search for Durham, for example, there are 3 regions with Durham in the name, because we're all named after the one in England. So when you find a region, you can join a region, and that gives you options. Once you're in a region, you can leave a region if you ever wish to. You can also make it your home region. We're not going to demonstrate that because we're MLs and we like to stay homed in our home region. But one of the other things you can do is you can search for like North Carolina, for example. So if you have friends in other parts of North Carolina, you could join their region and participate in some of their events. And a lot of states will have an elsewhere region. We do as well. And really, you can be in that region being anywhere from North Carolina. So as you can see, there's a decent amount of division in North Carolina. We have a lot of space going on. And in theory, that map would show you North Carolina. It doesn't relocate itself very well. But you can zoom in, you can zoom out. But yeah, you see, we're pretty spread out across the region. We have a lot of them, which is always exciting. So that's finding a region, and homing to the region is just that make home button that I mentioned. And once you have homed to one region, in your community menu, you'll have a home region option. That won't pop up until you've homed somewhere. We encourage you to home with us because then we can see your information, and you'll get notifications from us about events and those kinds of things. So home region is where we are off to next. So there's a lot of information on this page. And I'm probably going to go very fast because most of this is informational. So on the left side, you'll see our lovely logo, which was actually designed by NaNoWriMo. She's awesome. We appreciate her. And then the name of our region and the description information that we included. And then below that are links to our social media and other information. That's how you can quickly get to our Slack channel if you don't have it bookmarked elsewhere. It's where you can join Slack or Discord or both. As we mentioned, they're very similar platforms. They just have slightly different options, and some people already use and know Slack, and that's great, and they want to stick with that. And some people already use Discord, and that's great, and they want to stick with that. So we like to let people be where they're comfortable being. And then on the right side, you will see that list of MLs. You will recognize some of our lovely faces. And that is an easy way to, if you click on that, it takes you to our profile. So that's an easy way to find us, to send a buddy request if you want to try and communicate with us in that way. So the other thing in the center is where a lot of the action happens. So most of what this is going to be is the ML sending you notifications and communications. This is where regional messages will post. This is where we'll post reminders and announcements. This is also a place you can post. As you can see, someone stopped in to say hi. But we would encourage you to engage with us in other places, like the forum link to our region is right at the top, and that's a great way to get our attention, is to post in the regional forum, which we will cover in full a little later. Or getting us on Slack or Discord, because we do check this, but we don't check it as often as we're checking other spaces, and you might get lost amidst the announcements that are being made. So we don't want you to ever think that we're ignoring you if we're not responding here. It might literally be that we didn't see it because it got lost in the shuffle. So
We
you can
also
host
don't
here.
get notifications about the things that are here. We get notifications on forums. We get notifications about Slack and Discord. This one doesn't send us notifications. So if it's urgent, this is not the place to go.
Yeah. We will usually respond eventually. It's just not going to be as real time as other platforms. But this is a great place to come and see, like, what did I miss? Or what's happening today? And those kind of things. So that's kind of the overview information. The next bit of information is events. And this is a great way to find how you can get involved with the region. So you will see upcoming and past. Pending is an ML space, so you won't see that third option. So if you click on past, that can show you, what's happened historically in our region. And that's not just now. Like if you keep scrolling, it will go on through the beginning of last year. So you can see July, May, This is a good illustration of if something gets canceled, you'll see a big canceled button on it. So we can let you know, like, yes, this was going to happen, but something happened in the host's life or the ML's lives, and we had to cancel this for some reason. Or in the case of March, something happened to the world and we had to cancel that for some reason. So if we go back to the top, all the way up, on upcoming, you can see that there are things happening this last week in October. One of our Warrior Millionaires, Zyfax, she's hosting weekday write-ins on Zoom in the mornings. If you are an early riser, those will happen. And you'll also see, I don't think it's been updated yet. Mariah, you're doing Wednesdays now?
Yes, my childcare situation changed.
Yeah, so that Tuesday one will be marked canceled and a Wednesday one will replace it soon.
Yes, except for the one on November the 3rd, because my parents want to cuddle my child on election day because someone somewhere in the world is going to be having a bad day that day.
Yeah. Yeah. But you'll see daily productivity hour. And our kickoff event went up today, so there's information about that. I do write-ins on Sunday. The kickoffs, that's one of 3 options to engage with us on the 31st and the first 2 hours of the 1st, to come say hello and meet people. That's going to be a pretty strictly social, we promise not to record kind of Zoom meeting where you can all be comfortable. And there's the other thing to note in events, when you're in an event, you can pick any event, but kickoff's a good example. There'll be a link URL this year. In future years, when we can do things in person, that space next to the description will have a map and show you where the address is. But for right now, that's a link. So below that, you'll be able to see the host, they're marked as organizer, and anyone who has clicked that count me in button to say that they're planning to come. As you can see, you won't see that little line of ML tools, obviously, but you will see the chat box. So you'll notice, like, I put some additional Zoom information in there. I added a link to the forum post about this event because it's one of our big kickoff events. If you have a question about an event, you can post one here. If an event has a forum post, we encourage you to post the question on the forum, because that's going to get seen a little faster. We do encourage hosts, and we MLs do this as well, to check this periodically to see if anybody has questions, and to always check it the day of an event. But this is another space that might not be seen quite as quickly, but we will always endeavor to answer you. And I think that is everything about events except for how to host your own. There is a submit an event button. And this lets you tell us what you plan to do. We do have a post on the forum that has some information about how we run events in NaNoRDU, and kind of expectations of hosts and our recommended way to name it and what to include in event details so that people know what they're getting. So we encourage you, if you're interested in hosting write-ins, to stop by that and take a look and see all of our advice there, and then use that as a template for filling in this form. And it kind of walks through the steps as well. So, you know, it's pretty simple: an event name, event details, what time is it, in what time zone, how long is it going to last for. It won't let you hit next until you've filled in this information, but the only other piece of information it's going to ask you for is where. And that's where you put a link this year. In future years, when in-person events are a thing again, you'll also have an option to do a actual physical location with an address. But for right now, it's a link. So that can be the link to the Zoom meeting or the Google Meet, if that's a platform you prefer to host on. Or if you're going to host on Discord, you can just say NaNoRDU Discord or NaNoRDU Slack, because the access and join links are in the sidebar. So that should be everything for events. And I'm pretty sure that's everything on my quick tour of events thing. RSVPs, details. Okay. The only other thing to note with events is once you submit an event, it will then give us a notification that you've submitted an event, and we will look on our pending tab and review everything and make sure that all the information that we need is there. And we might reach out to you about your event before we approve it. And if we do, we'll reach out wherever we're connected with you. So if we know you're in our Discord server, we might reach out to you there. If we've seen you on Slack, we might send you a direct message there. The other place that we can send you messages is on the forums, and we'll cover how to see those and how to send those shortly. To make sure that we have a chance to see it and approve it, we encourage you to submit it no later than 24 hours in advance of the actual event start time, earlier if you can. And we also encourage you, if you haven't already let us know you're planning to host, to just give one of the MLs a ping, or, announce in chat, hey, I'm hosting a write-in, I submitted my event today, in a Slack or Discord chat, just to kind of let us know so that we're keeping an eye out for it and we have a chance to approve it for you. So I think that is that. So if you jump back to the overview, you can go to the forum link just to demonstrate how that link works. And then I believe Mariah is going to take over both screen share and narration and walk us through the forums.
Indeed, I am. Before we move on to forums, are there any questions about the main site?
Oh yes, questions. And as we mentioned before, if you can't think of any now, you can always post a question in the chat at any point. If you think of one while we're talking, post it. If we aren't already planning on talking about it, we will definitely address it. If we are planning to talk about it, we might tell you we're getting there, as we have a couple of times today. But yeah, okay.
Alrighty.
So we will move on.
Alrighty, Sadie, will you stop sharing your screen and I will take over? All right, thank you very much. All right, I'm gonna move that. All right, so everyone should be able to see my screen. Yes? All right, so there are two different ways to access the forums. Three different ways, actually. So you can either go from the main NaNoWriMo website, click on the community tab and click forums. Or what I usually do is just type in the address. It's just forums.nanorimo.org. So not excessively tricky. And of course, it's always slow when I'm presenting my video, just to be irritating. So if you've been on the forums before, this header is new. If you've never been on the forums before, this header will be extra helpful for you, because this has a bunch of really quick links to the support forum, to finding friends, to tips and tricks and all of that. This is collapsible, so you can keep it there forever if it is something that you would like to keep. You can close it entirely if you do not want it. But until you get the hang of the forums, I definitely recommend keeping that up there. So the first thing you're going to want to know is, how do I get a tutorial of how to use the forums? We're going to go over a lot of stuff today, but there's also a really, really great and very useful tutorial. So if you go to up in the top right corner, there will be either a little head and shoulders icon if you have not set a profile picture, or if you have set a profile picture, it'll be up there in the corner. So if you click on that picture, that will be kind of your way to access all of your stuff. So the bell icon is notifications. This one is the bookmark. Then there's your summary and information. But the really important place we want to go first is to messages. So there will be a system message right in the beginning, and you will get one. I have deleted mine, but you will get a message from DiscoBot. And DiscoBot is our Discord friend who helps us do all the tutorials. So you'll get a message with the subject greetings from DiscoBot, and that will walk you through all of the basic things that you need to know. So it'll teach you how to bookmark a thread, find bookmarked items, add links, add formatting, add emojis, like a post, add an image to your post, search within a topic, and flag a post with concerning content, which reports it to mods. So if you have not done that tutorial already, please do that tutorial. It will be really, really helpful. You can also optionally complete a more advanced tutorial by replying to the message from DiscoBot with @DiscoBot start advanced tutorial. And I have put that in the chat for you so that you know exactly what to type. And that will get you a slightly more advanced tutorial. This will tell you how to edit posts, delete posts, undelete a post within the first 24 hours if you deleted it by accident. How to use a category or a tag, change notification settings on an individual thread, make a poll, and do a hide details or a spoiler tag sort of thing. Again, highly, highly, highly recommend doing this. This will give you a great intro to the system as a whole. But what we're going to do is just a more generic tutorial of how to navigate the forums, how to see the things you want to see to get to where you want to go. So when you first log on, you're going to start out just at the main site. If you see a unicycle, that means things are loading. So when you first log on, you'll see your basic categories. Now, a recent update to the site that has been much welcomed by many of us is that almost all of the categories start off muted by default. And this is a welcome change because it used to be that you had all of the categories. So you had access to every region in the world and it showed you what they were doing all the time. It was so much. So now everything is muted by default. But obviously, if you're coming on the forums, you kind of want to talk to people. So you're going to want to unmute some of those forums. So you'll see the basic stuff here. Obviously, you won't see the ML Hub, but you will see official stuff. You'll see the tech support forum, things like that. So if there's something that you don't see that you want to see, all the way down at the bottom here is this muted categories button. Just click this plus sign and it will show you all of the things. So one important thing to note, you'll see up here, support and tech help is not muted for me as a whole category, but I do have some of these subcategories muted because I don't necessarily want to know every time someone creates a new theme. The rules, I've read the rules. They're not going to update very often. So I don't necessarily feel like I need to be watching this one. So you can feel free to leave things muted. But we strongly recommend, go through these and look for the things that matter to you and unmute them. So how do you do that? So to change your notification preferences, just go into a section. I am going to go into, where do I want to go? I'm going to go into my genres because I haven't subscribed to the fantasy genre forum yet. So when you first click in, you will see up here in the top right this little bell icon. And if you click on that, you'll get a pop-up with a description of the different notification settings. So the notifications range from muted, which is you will never be notified of anything about new topics in this category and they will not appear in latest, all the way up to watching, which means you will get a notification of every time there's a new post and it will show you a count of new replies. I just want normal. I want to be able to go into this sometimes, but not all the time. So I have set that to normal. You do not need to click a save button or anything. That will save automatically. So that is how you change that setting. So it's pretty easy, but I'd like to give you an overview of what the different sections do, just so that you can have an understanding of what things might be relevant to you. So these are a few useful categories that you may want to check out. First of all, genres. These are categories specifically for discussing writing within the genre that you work in. This is a great place to go to get ideas and find support from people who are writing novels that are similar to yours. So as you can see, we've got realistic fiction, we've got YA middle grades, we've got historical horror, a little bit of everything. So if you're writing in a particular genre, this is where to find the people who are writing the same as you. Finding your crew. This is a great one. If you want to make writer friends outside of our region, this is the best place to start. There are categories by age group, but there are also all kinds of other groupings. Mess hall is specifically for military and veterans. We've got a university for writers who are studying. There's other people looking for teachers, musicians, runners who like to sprint literally and metaphorically. There's a little bit of everything. So you can always find the things that are important to you. There are also a few private forums that are for some of the more delicate affiliation groups. So if you want to look at those, here in your top menu, there's a private forum for affinity groups. And you just have to request to join those. Obviously, some of them are closed. You can't request to be a moderator just at random. That's open only to people who have specifically been granted mod privileges. But let's say that you're a writer of color and you want to be in the BIPOC space, you can request that. I have requested to be in the chronic illness group. I have requested to be in the LGBTQ plus group. So whatever applies to you, you can choose to join that affiliation group. Most of them are not like locked. You don't have to like know a secret code or anything. It's just they want them to be, spaces that you are only in them if you want to be. This is especially important if we have anyone who is writing 18 plus. There is a private forum specifically for this. Any content that is 18 plus only, that's where you go. Keep it there. So some of the other places are the coffee house. This is the chatting space for non-writing focused discussion. So this is just kind of where is my coffee house? Oh, it's up here at the top. This is the all ages general gathering place for things that don't have their own forum. If you just want to hang out and procrastinate by talking with other people who are also procrastinating by talking, but don't want to admit that they're procrastinating, this is where you go. If you want to admit that you're procrastinating, there is a procrastinations and distractions forum lower down. That's for those of us who are a little more self-aware and just, embrace our procrastination. The coffee house is where we pretend that everything is fine. This is fine. Everything is fine. There is also, which may be helpful to you, a newbies forum. Again, this does what it says on the tin. This is kind of a gentle place to dip your toes in the water, get encouragement, talk to other people who are new. Veterans will drop by to offer advice. This is kind of where we want, where we offer our newbies all of our love and support and encouragement. So another really useful place, story development. So if you are stuck on literally anything, this is the place to go. This forum, on the old forums, this was called plot doctoring, but they updated it to be a little more general because there are also subsections for character and style and grammar. So if you need help with the actual building of your story, this is where to go. Now, let's say you need to know what kind of guns were used by gangs in 1920s New York City or something else very specific. You want to go to the reference desk. I helped someone last week discuss how viable it is to clone animals for food. There's someone who's asking for advice on how divorce law works in Canada. So if you need somebody who's an expert in just about anything, try the reference desk. You would be amazed what writers do as their day jobs. We've got everything from, full-time moms to microbiologists. So if you have a question, there is probably someone in the reference desk who can help you find your answer. And then probably the most important, support and tech help. If it ain't broke, don't go here. But if it is broke, this is where they'll help you fix it. This is where HQ maintains a list of known bugs that are in progress of being fixed. And this is also where you report new bugs. I would recommend that if you run into something that seems to be broken, check in this forum before you make a new post, because they'll automatically merge your post into the old post if you don't. So go looking, see if other people are reporting the same issue, but this is the place to go if something is not working. And then just a little bit of basic navigation. So what you'll see across the top is categories. This is everything. You'll have a tab called Latest. This is for all of the forums that you don't have muted. It will tell you when there's new posts. So remember how I was talking about that cloning thread? It tells me there's been 2 new posts since the last time I looked at it. And I can just click on that. Once you're in a thread, if you would like to get out of that thread and go back to the main forums, scroll to the top, click this little Viking helmet, and it will take you back out to the main page. Riding our unicycle. So there's latest, there's also new. Those are threads that are new since the last time you went into a particular forum. And unread is new replies to threads that you have read for at least 4 minutes. So those are going to be individual to the things that you have looked at. I'm not going to click in there because my computer is being really slow when I click into and out of things. Top is going to be some of the most popular posts. Bookmarks is going to be for anything that you have bookmarked. So personally, I have very few, but I really like this Howl's Moving Castle word crawl. So there's also another way to navigate pretty quickly, which is if you're in a category, I'm going to go into coffee house. Across the top, it'll show you where you are. If you go into a subsection, it'll display here, but say, okay, I'm in the coffee house and I want to pop over to the reference desk because I need some help. All you have to do is click that little triangle next to the name of the section where you are, and it will pull up the other sections. So right now I'm in the coffee house, which doesn't have any subforums, so I can just go over to another main section. But let's say I'm in reference desk and I want to go to experts. There's also a drop down next to that, so I can switch between experts and personal experience. So that's a really quick way to get from one place to another. There's also another way to get pretty quickly between the sections, which is to click on these 3 little lines up here at the top by your name. This is called the hamburger menu. And it will list the categories that you have unmuted and the places that you have gone most recently or most often. So you can use that to get to anything that belongs to you. So I have used that to get to our regional forum. You can also access our regional forum from the main site. If you are homed to Raleigh-Durham and you're in that region, right at the top of the page, it will say, for more conversation, click here to go to your regional forum, and that will take you right here. The regional forum is going to be really, really important to this year, because this is where we're going to do most of our activity. We're going to have conversation threads. We're going to be posting conversation starters, encouragement, discussions of when people want to meet or whatever. So we will have a lot of discussion will be here. So this is going to be one that you're going to want to bookmark or come to pretty often. All right, so any questions about navigating the forums?
Just a real quick reminder, the regional forum is one of those topics that's going to be muted for you automatically.
You're going to want to unmute that. Very,
You're
very
going to want
important.
to unmute us.
So again, just a reminder of go to this little bell icon. You're going to want to take this one off muted so that you know when we have updated things.
Yeah. And our question in chat is, when is a scheduled write-in? That answer is a lot of times, not all of which are solidified yet. For example, we mentioned earlier that Mariah is hosting Wednesday evenings. I host Sunday afternoons.
So I'm not sure when you got kicked off, Eliza, but I'm guessing you got kicked off before we were at our region page. So I will cover this again really quick. So if you're on the main Nano page, you go to community. If you are homed to our region, it will be here. If you are not, you can go to find a region and search for Raleigh, and you'll be able to find us. So if you click to our region, which is going to take a minute just to spite me, on our region homepage, there's there's 2 tabs that you're going to be able to see here: Overview, which is where the chat box is, and Events. All of our events are going to be listed here. So anything that we have scheduled, you'll be able to see here. So, and we can go over that again later if you have more specific questions.
And as Mariah navigates back to the forum, there's actually a forum thread about organizing those things. So if you are interested in a certain time period, you can post there and see if others are available.
Write-in planning and how to host. So if you are thinking about doing anything, it's right here.
Yes, it's been a long week for many of us, I'm sure.
We're not kidding.
Yeah, but for anybody, if anybody else has connectivity problems, we are recording this. Apologies that we keep mentioning that if you're watching this on YouTube later, but this will be posted on our YouTube, and folks will be able to, you'll be able to review sections that you might have missed. But we will, of course, also answer all questions by the time we are done today.
Yep.
So back to the regional forums.
Back to the forums. All right. So I'm going to do just a really quick tutorial of how to post and respond. One of the things I love about Discord is it's super easy. So you just go to the section where you would like to post, and right here in the top right, there is going to be a plus new topic. So you click on that and a little window will pop up at the bottom. So on the left is where you can type. So once you type your topic, it will do a search, and it will tell you if your topic is similar to any others. So because I called it Nano 101, it found Nano Prep 101 in some other regions, and it popped those up. Those aren't from us, so I can ignore those. Most of the time you can ignore this, but it's really, really useful in the bug report forum, because if you're reporting a bug that someone else has already reported, it will tell you so. And then you can just go comment on their thread instead. So I have closed that, and then I'm just going to start typing. And then here on the right, this becomes a display box to show you what it's going to look like, including like your formatting and links and things like that. I can't type good. So you'll get a preview of what your finished post will look like here on the right, and you'll be able to edit it here on the left. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't actually want to post this. And then if you want to reply to a thread, if you go into the actual thread, there are a couple ways to do this. At the very bottom, there is a reply button that will let you reply to the whole thread in general. So if I want to make a new post, so this is just a general post in the whole thread, and you can see it post right there. But let's say someone has made an excellent point that you want to respond to. There's also a reply button on each individual comment. That lets you reply specifically to them, and that will create a little nested thread. So you can have a little conversation just about that particular comment if that's something that you want to do. So that's the two ways to reply to a thread. So any questions about that? Alrighty, so I'm going to go over some tips and tricks that might be helpful to you pretty early on. One of them is themes. My eyes are really bad, and I had to get bifocals for my 30th birthday. So for me, some of the themes are harder to read than others. So if you click on your hamburger menu, you can choose a theme that works well for you. For example, for those of us who are like me, the larger font theme. Oh, look, it's big. I can read it now. This is great. Some of them also cover their different colors. So for me, a lot of the themes are blue because that's one of the nano colors. That gets a little hard on my eyes because of the blue light, because I work on my computer pretty much all day. So I switched it to a whiter color just to be a little easier, but you can change your themes here. Another thing that you may wish to do is we have mentioned previously that a good way to get in contact with the MLs is to send messages using the forum messenger. And you simply do that by clicking on your name, your little profile picture up here in the top right, and you can see all of your direct messages. Or if you want to message a specific person, so let's say I want to message Rebecca, I can click on her name, and I can click this little message button that pops up. And then if you are in a thread, it will automatically title your message with the thread that you're responding to. You can remove that because I don't necessarily want to talk to her about this thread. I just wanted to message her from this thread. Alrighty, and now I can send her a message. There we go. And now she can respond back to me. And she'll get a notification that she got that. So that's a pretty quick way to directly message your friends. Or if you don't want to, you can start from here and you can look at all of your messages. And if you just click the little down arrow at the bottom, then you'll get to all of your messages and not just the ones that are shown here. So this is a message that you will get if you go against the community standards. I accidentally got a little too relaxed and used a bad word, and so they hid one of my posts. Once I went back and edited it, they put my post back. So just a note, this is a thing that could happen to you. Don't use bad words in the all ages forums. So this is also the place to go to edit your preferences. So if you click on your picture and you go over to the far right tab, the little head and shoulders, this will have a summary of all of your stuff. So this will show your top replies, your statistics, all of that. Then you've got a log of your activity. You've got your notifications, which could be useful if you have a lot of them. I like to work from here because I get a lot of notifications. Then there's also a really cool feature that I absolutely love that's badges. It's like stickers for the internet. Makes me really happy. So it will show you all of the badges that you've earned. And then you can also set your preferences. So you can change your account. It will show you where you've been logged on. So you can check for suspicious activity. You can change your email preferences. You can change your categories. So if you realize that, you just absolutely lost it in a fit of late night sleepiness and accidentally watched 83 other region forums, you can remove those. Oh, how do you earn badges? That's a great question. I will get back to that in just a second. So there's users. This is who you can ignore or mute. These are there to help keep things harmonious on the forums. This does get back to HQ. So if there is a user who has been ignored by like 300 people on the forums, HQ is going to go, we should investigate this person because it seems like they're disruptive. So please feel free to use this liberally to make your forums experience better. This is the best way to put someone on the radar for HQ to know that this person is being disruptive. That's also true of using the flag feature on individual posts in the forums. If something is just way out of line, use that. It gets back to HQ. They answer it as quickly as they possibly can. That's one of the things that I really, really love about Discord is that they're able to be really, really on top of those things and make this a pleasant experience. So one question that we get pretty frequently is, why is there the option to ignore someone but not block them? And the reason for that is this. HQ does not tolerate bullies and trolls and people who are being terrible. So if a person has been truly horrible and enough people have ignored them, they're going to get kicked off the forums. They don't want you to have to block anyone because they want this to be a comfortable, happy space. So if there's someone that you don't want to talk to, just ignore them. It's totally fine. It's totally okay. We want you to use that. Now, if there's interpersonal conflict, we definitely hope that you will loop the MLs in and you'll say, we cannot figure this out. Even if I ignore this person, I feel like every time we're in write-ins, we just clash. Let us know. We are more than happy to try to resolve these situations and step in. Hopefully, this will not be an issue. In the 18 years that I have been participating in Nano, there have really only ever been 3 people who have caused a problem for me. And one of those people, like, the next year came back and was like, you know what? I realized something changed in my life. I have turned things totally around. I'm not going to behave like that anymore. And so, we want to give people a chance, but we also understand that it can be really, really hard sometimes. So bring us issues, let us help resolve them. If we can't resolve it, use the ignore and mute feature. So I will go back to badges to answer your question. So badges are earned just by doing stuff on the forums. So you can see there's a description next to the various badges. So this is not all of the badges that you can get. These are just the badges that I have. There is on the on one of the forums, I think it's the like intro official messages forum, there's a description of all the badges and what they do. But these are the ones that I have. So I have received a like on 20 of my posts. I edited one of my posts. I have visited for 10 days in a row. I used an emoji for the first time. 25 different times, as you can see here in the top corner, at least 10 people have liked one of my replies to a comment. So that's pretty cool. I must be doing something okay. I've been active for a year, and they go from bronze to silver to gold, depending on the rarity of the badge. So because I'm an ML, I have the leader badge. Because I was a beta tester, I have the beta tester badge. So those are ones that people can't earn really retroactively. But the great reply button, or the great reply badge, anybody can earn. It's received 50 likes on one of your replies. So these are just stickers basically to tell you, hey, thank you for participating. We really appreciate that you are a good and positive contribution to the forums. So that's how you earn badges. And there are things for all kinds of stuff, from just like basic posts to visiting every day for a year, that sort of thing. So that is how you earn badges. So I think that is everything I wanted to cover on the forums, which is good because my voice is just about ready to give out. Does anybody have any questions? Alrighty, I will stop sharing and I am going to turn it over to somebody else.
Okay. In the interest of time, we're going to make this section real brief. So we have this neat thing that we do in the region called library cards. So I'm sharing a picture of one of mine from past year. If you are old enough, you might remember these style library cards from elementary school or some other period of life.
When real actual libraries gave them out.
Yeah, when real actual libraries did a thing. So that's the basis of the activity that I'm talking about, is our library cards. But this year, since we're all digital and we can't give you a real sticker, as Mariah mentioned, badges are kind of like stickers for the internet. So we have set up some things in a tool called Badge Wallet. So if you've ever used Badge Wallet before, this will be really simple and easy to use. And we are going to tell all of you who are here a secret passphrase, which I am posting into the chat right now as soon as I confirm what it's supposed to be. So Nano 101 is your secret passphrase. So write that down, keep it, hang on to it. And we will come back to your question in a moment. There is a website, which I will also post in the chat. So if you are super tech savvy and comfortable doing this on your own, you can. We were going to walk through it, but since we only have 14 minutes left in our allotted time, we're choosing to push this to later. We'll probably screen share and show you this at kickoff, and we'll post a video later. But for right now, I'm just going to give you that website and the secret code. And you can sign up on that site. There's also an app for Android and iPhones, and I promise we will post all of this information to the forums, and we will link it and all of the directions in an upcoming message. So you'll get all the information you need to claim this. We'll also cover it after we do survival tips for anybody who can stay late today, but we don't want to force people to stay late if they can't stay past 4. So save your secret code if you can't stay past 4, and that website, and we'll send you all of the information you need to claim your first library card sticker badge through Badge Wallet. But before we do all that at the end, we're going to skip to survival tips for November, and answer the question of what platform do you all use for writing your novels, which we will post to the whole group. So folks are welcome to answer in chat, and we will also answer that in chat. But I'm going to pass it to Sadie to start our survival tips discussion.
Hear me? Hi. So these are just tips that I use to help create an environment and kind of a mindset to make it through the wild month of November. So the first suggestion I have for you guys is to participate in write-ins. When I was doing Nano all by myself in my little dorm room in college, I did not get as far as when I sat down with a whole bunch of writers and got to write together. And so the write-ins just really create an atmosphere that help people focus and, you know, keep you accountable. So I really recommend that. I also recommend creating like a dedicated workspace. So like clear off a section in your house, whether it's just a chair or a small table, or maybe you have like a bench outside that you can go sit in. And this is where I will write every single time I get a chance to. And that can really kind of clear up some of like the mental clutter. So that way you're nice and focused when you actually get the chance to sit down and write. I also suggest telling everybody you know that you are doing Nano, post it on social media, tell your family, tell your friends. When you pass a stranger on the street 6 feet apart, tell them, just every single person that you can, because that'll give you the mindset, like, I'm committed to doing this. I have told so many people I want to do this, and then some of those people will come back and be like, hey, Sadie, you mentioned that you were doing this. How far are you? How's that going? And so then that gives you that second layer of accountability.
And then as you do it more and more, your family will get used to the fact that November is just when you write, and you don't bother people who are writing in November or they will bite your head off.
Exactly. Which kind of brings me to my next one, which is to meal prep and sort of try to offload chores. When I still lived at home, I kind of told my mom, like, hey, I'm writing. Can you do my chores this month? But also just kind of, you know, prepping stuff so that way you're, you know, all your meals are like frozen and you like throw them in the microwave. They're still tasty and delicious because you like threw them in a crock pot, but also you're spending less time cooking and more time writing. Same with like chores. If you have stuff that like your family members are willing to help you with, I know not everyone has that, but sometimes it doesn't hurt to ask. And then one of the things that I like to do is if I know that I'm going to be super busy, like during Thanksgiving, or none of my weekends are free because I work retail and I'm going to work a 12.5 hour day, then I'll cross off all those days and I'll look at what days I have left on the calendar and redivide the 50,000 words to like, maybe I should write 2,000 words every day instead of the 1667. And that can help you stay more on pace for what your schedule looks like. And then my last tip is super important. Remember to take care of yourself. Drink water, exercise, eat regular meals, and get sleep. Get the sleep. Do not skip the sleep. You might think that skipping any of these things will give you more time to write, but in the end, you'll kind of just be grumpy and not feel good. And the you that has to edit that draft 6 months from now is going to be grumpy with you. So make sure you're taking care of yourself.
That's a really, really big one. Really big one.
Yeah, that's the huge survival tip is remember to be human and treat yourself like a human.
Like there are many things that we will endorse skipping. We will endorse skipping Thanksgiving with that horrible cousin. We will endorse, you know, taking a sick day to play hooky and write. We will endorse all kinds of things. We do not endorse not sleeping, not eating, and letting yourself get sick because you're not being kind to yourself.
And I will add is a caveat to that is remember your caffeine limits from normal times. If you shouldn't drink caffeine after 2 p.m. so that you can go to sleep on time, don't drink the caffeine after 2 p.m. so you can write.
November may feel like a magical fantasy land that doesn't exist in comparison to the rest of time, but I promise you it does exist and actions have consequences.
Strangely. Um, but another thing I want to say is we welcome suggestions from any of our experienced RIMOs who have joined us today. Feel free to pop those in chat and we will share them with everybody. Or new folks, if you have any thoughts on what you plan to do to survive the month, do share those as well. Sadie is very focused on the like, how do I function as a human portion of this? I'm focused a little bit more on the how do I write this novel part of this. So
this is how we come out at the end of the month with Heather having written 100,000 words and Sadie knows that she needs to take care of herself so that she doesn't have a breakdown. Like this is coming from experience.
Yes. Yeah, we have learned this over time.
Yeah.
So one of my tips for surviving the writing part of this is leave yourself a plan for where to go when you stop writing each session. This could look different for everybody. So this might be leaving a quick note to yourself in your draft if you're a pantser like me and that's where all of your notes are. It could be a sticky note on your outline or highlighting on your outline as you finish things so you know what you've done and what you haven't. It could be taking track of exactly where you are on that detailed list of scenes you made in October because you are a planner and you have one of those.
We don't know anyone like that, but you know, somebody could.
Yeah, like, you know, Kristen probably has that. So like whatever that looks like for you, like leave yourself some hints. I also like to stop right before the end, like right before I run out of ideas. So like where I know exactly where I'm going, so that I can know that when I come back to it the next day or the next session or later that day or whenever it might be. I keep a list of characters and places I've created along the way. This could be on a piece of paper. I keep mine in Excel. But this is just a quick reference so I can just pop to my other window to look at my list to be like, hey, the little brother's name was James. Okay, so I can keep rolling my draft. Alternatively, if that's not something that you keep up with or you forgot to write somebody down or you can't even remember if you named them yet, you can use placeholders. So I like to use square brackets for these because I don't have to hit shift to make that bracket happen. And because I don't use it for anything else. So if I put bracket, father's name, or little brother, or whatever their job title was, and that note to myself to like look up this weird, obscure continuity fact and fix it. Or, you know, insert disease that has this symptom here, you know, whatever thing that I don't want to have to research in the moment because I'm on a roll, I use a placeholder. Proper breaks. This is my one, like, be a true human caveat that goes along with the all of the things that Sadie said. But if you know that writing for an hour is about your limit of sitting still and writing, plan for that. So write for that hour and do the thing and go to the write-in that's only an hour long, or only go to the last hour of the write-in so that you know that once you've gotten your hour in, you're good. Or, you know, go to an hour of write-in, go take a walk for 5 or 10 minutes, come back, go to the second hour of write-in, you know, whatever you need to do to give yourself that break to refresh and rejuvenate and come back doing better. And the other advice I have is reach out for the help and support and accountability you need. So if you're struggling to motivate yourself and you just need somebody else to acknowledge that it's hard, hop into Slack or Discord or the forum and post to say hi to somebody, or just generally, you know, reach out to the NaNoRDU community and say hi. You never know who might be around. We have night owls, we have early morning folks, we have several parents who are like, whenever the kids are not bothering me, I will be on Discord writing. Like, so the odds are good someone will be there to hang out with you. And even if they can't sprint at the time, like Mariah said, you know, we all have jobs. I work 40 hours a week, but it's the kind of job where I can, you know, occasionally glance at the messages on my phone. So I might be able to say, hey, hi, you know, you know, keep up the good work. You can do it, you know, report back and tell me how many words you've written in 20 minutes. And like, I'll be there to respond 20 minutes later. So just reach out and ask. And I'm now going to look through all of that chat and say some of that for our recording if folks are there. Liz has some good advice for us. It helps me to be realistic about the number of days I'll actually be able to write in November and adjust my daily goals accordingly. This year, 2K per day should do it. In the past, I've forgotten to plan for things like Thanksgiving and that I am the mom, by which I think she means she has to cook.
Well, and there are other things that you have to do for your children in order for them to survive, like, you know,
Yeah.
give them affection and play with them and stuff. Like, I just know, like, between the time that Rowan comes home and the time that she goes to bed, I'm not going to get anything done because she's 3. And not only do I like her and want to spend time with her, but also she's 3 and she has a shriek that could pierce the atmosphere. And so if she's unhappy that mommy is upstairs and not with her, everybody in a 5-mile radius is going to know about it.
Another thing that Liz mentions is new thing she's trying this year is to not get derailed and wanting to fill in some of those bracket placeholder I mentioned, is starting with a bank of spare character names, place names, strange critters, food, and the like. So whatever you might need to name in the course of your story based on what you know about it, make a list of things you could name it. You know, if you're using all French names for your characters or all, you know, single syllable names, both things I've done different Nano years, oddly enough. Go ahead and look up all of those names so you have a list. So do continue posting thoughts about that. And Sadie also posted a link to our YouTube where this will be posted. There will be a playlist for workshops this year. Mariah, did you have any survival tips we haven't touched on yet?
I do. So the idea of telling everyone you know is really, really helpful. But for me, it's helpful to have a specific accountability partner, like a spouse, a roommate, a best friend, another trusted writer, who knows that you're participating. And then be honest with that person about the things that tend to fall by the wayside for you. Like for me, I have inattentive type ADHD. And so I often forget to feed myself until I am in the hangry zone. And so God bless my husband. He comes and checks on me at regular intervals and says, you know, do you need to eat? He helps keep me alive. But he also, you know, checks in on my daily word count and, you know, says, how much have you written today? Are you on track? And so having someone who not just who knows, but who knows exactly what your needs are is really, really helpful. And then plan your time to write, but also plan time to recharge. Like if you're working full time and writing and taking care of your kids and walking your dog and singing to your houseplants and doing your laundry, like time has a way of getting taken up by all the stuff that needs to be done. And then you end up feeling guilty when you want to take a break to spend 40 minutes watching Great British Baking Show. And so like if you schedule your self-care time, you can use it more wisely. So maybe, you know, take a nice hot bath instead of doom scrolling on Twitter. And then you don't have to feel guilty for wasting that time because you spent it doing something that was restful, but that was also good for you. Because Nano's a cross-country road trip and you've got to plan for where you're going to refuel or you will end up stranded in the Mojave Desert. It will happen.
I love this metaphor.
I mean, it's really true. I've done it to myself so many times is you just say, you know, I'm going to go and go and go and go and go. And you cannot go and go forever. You will stop one way or another. If you plan your stops, you're going to be a lot more successful at getting back on the road. And then one of my other tips is give kindness. Do something nice for your roommate or your partner. Send your mom some flowers. Reconnect with the people in your life in a positive way. That'll boost their mood, which will boost your mood. And it'll anchor you back in the real world in a way that's constructive. and has nothing to do with the fact that the planet is currently a dumpster filled with garbage ooze that's also on fire. Like you need positive things in your life. And it's also really easy, like Heather's husband coined the term nano widower. Because during November he can feel very neglected because she's spending all of her time here. And so if you reconnect with those people who feel neglected, but you make sure to do it in a positive way, they're more likely to give that positive back to you, and you'll end up in a feedback loop of making each other happy, and that'll be really good. And then my number one tip is do not get pregnant in October. Oh my God, do not do this.
Told you this was from life experience, y'all.
I'm mostly kidding. But not really. In 2016, my first day of Nano, my first official day of being an ML was my first day of morning sickness. I spent all of November like wanting to die a little bit. It was horrible.
Yeah, we couldn't feed her anything at Write-ins. It was very sad.
It was
Or
really
eat onions.
Yeah, or have onions anywhere near her.
No one could eat onions. Like I would get sick if they were even in the same room as me. It was a real problem. So that's just my joking way of saying, you know, life is going to be unexpected. You cannot control all the factors. Just be aware that something's going to happen. You know, your car tire is going to explode in the middle of day of writing everywhere.
And instead of coming to the next 3 write-ins, you will go to the repair shop.
Yeah. Turns out they have Wi-Fi there. You can still write. It's fine. Like stuff is going to happen. Prepare for the unexpected. Be kind to yourself when things go wrong. Because self-compassion is the most important kind of compassion.
Yeah. Okay. 2 quick things. One, it is 4 p.m. So if anybody has to peace out, we promise we'll post the rest of this as a video so that you can get information you missed. But we will not be offended if you have to peace out early. Well, 4 minutes late, technically. So just be aware that you will always have that option. I also want to highlight a couple of things I saw in chat. Caitlin shared that I find that when I only have an hour to set aside each day, doing sprints is helpful to focus my energy in short bursts. None of us actually mentioned that, but we covered sprints and vocabulary. We are big fans of sprints.
It's the only way I get anything done ever.
I am such a fan of sprints that in the before times when I was commuting to work on a bus every day, I got on the bus and I was sitting up on my laptop ready to write at about 6:50 in the morning. So there is an automated sprint in Slack and Discord at 6:50 in the morning for 20 minutes to coincide with my normal bus route to work. And then we take a 10-minute break so I can get to my building, and we sprint another 20 minutes when I'm in my office, and then some other people set up another one. So there's like 3 20-minute sprints in the morning. So if you're a morning person, come join us. But like that's kind of a thing that, you know, carve out that 20 minutes where you can and where you need to. Dawn asked about the postcard exchange. There are 2 levels of postcard exchange. On our regional forum, one of our Warrior Minions, or just Rhymos, I don't remember, that changes from year to year, but one of our Rhymos is organizing a local postcard exchange. So you can sign up, there's a Google form to sign up for that, and she will exchange addresses for folks, and you can send postcards to other people in the region, and it's really fun. The other thing is, if you search for postcard exchange on the full forums, there is a NaNoWriMo worldwide postcard exchange that you can sign up for if you are interested. If for any reason you can't find that, poke me and I will find the link for you because I follow that thread. But that is a really fun thing. I sent postcards to, you know, Europe, which is neat because I'm gonna get a postcard potentially from Europe. So that's just kind of a neat fun thing that you can do optionally. Does anybody see anything else I missed in chat? School, yes, school is another one of those things that you kind of still have to do, kind of like we have to go to work. It's important not to let Nano interfere with school, but also to give yourself breaks and do the school stuff and the Nano stuff and still watch a TV show occasionally or read a book. So
Liza, I totally agree with you. Cheese is necessary to the quality of life. That is a fact.
Unless you're lactose intolerant or vegan, in which case we condone and support your lack of cheese in your life.
I am allergic to milk and I still eat cheese because it is that important to my soul.
Okay, I endorse your choice to do that to yourself if you have to. I would struggle if I ever became lactose intolerant or allergic to cheese. That would be hard.
I said that sentence about bread, and now here I am.
Yeah.
And I'm doing just fine.
Yeah. You may be you may be gluten free now,
Yep.
but you can still occasionally enjoy a Hawaiian king roll.
Can you use Google Meets for meetings? Yes, you can use Google Meets for meetings. We don't, just because we have a NaNoRDU account, but not all three of us can be hanging out on it at the same time. So it kicks us off. But if you would like to host a Google Hangouts write-in, you're more than welcome to do so. We are pretty platform agnostic. We don't necessarily prefer one over the other. We ask that it be free, so something that people don't have to pay to get on. And we ask that it be moderated in some form, so we don't just get, like trolls from random places coming in and saying cuss words and sending inappropriate images. But those are really the only requirements that we have.
Yeah, so if you're using those kind of platforms, we encourage you to only share those links on secure nano spaces. So the events on NaNoWriMo.org are only visible to NaNoWriMo users. So you have to have a NaNoWriMo account to get that link. That's why we post our Zoom links and passwords there, because that makes them secure. Similarly, if you're hosting on Google Meet, we would encourage you to post there because it's secure. If Google Meet has a way to do passwords, I don't know if it needs it. I don't think it's that, like, I'll be honest, I'm not sure I've ever used it.
We used it once.
We used it once.
We did, because there was a hurricane and I was not up for driving to Durham. And so I hosted from this very room.
Yeah, and I drove to Durham in that, which was, don't recommend. Do not recommend. You drive to Durham in a hurricane. Okay, yeah, so ask to join our code is a decent idea. The part of why I personally don't host on that is because it surfaces your Google information and your account and potentially your email. So if you are hosting there, just be aware that people who attend that might have access to your email now. That might be perfectly fine for you. Like, I do have an email that I don't care who has. But if it's your primary email that you maybe don't want random people you're meeting on the internet to have, just be aware of that. We mostly just want people to be safe and happy and engage pleasantly and nicely. So this is the part where we will open up to all questions. I'm also going to come back to the badge wallet instructions real quick to kind of do a very quick walkthrough of those so that people can see how to claim an account there, how to get an account there, and how to claim the badge from today. So I'm going to scroll back up to where I wrote down the directions for that and send the link to chat again. So if anyone wants to follow along, you are welcome to. But Sadie's also going to share screen again so we can show folks how that works. Ooh.
I am? Okay.
Oh.
I am.
I swore we talked about this beforehand. Maybe not.
It's good because I wanted to do it anyways, so now you guys will just all see. I just don't know if I have an account.
Okay.
But that's fine.
It's okay. It's pretty easy. You go to the website and you enter your email to get started. Which is pretty simple.
Nobody
so you're
steal
all
my email.
Yeah. I can blur this for the recording probably if you need me to. And it will ask you to make a password. Okay. Yeah, she's just gonna not put that part on video. But it's pretty easy. You enter your email. It asks you for a password. Then you can fill that in. and then she'll share her screen again to show us where it lands you. Okay.
All I did was hit the register button after putting in my password.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. You get started, you enter your email. And there are two options. Badgecraft lets you issue badges. That's what we use to do that thing. Badge Wallet is what you're going to want to pick because that's going to let you earn badges. So click on Badge Wallet, and it's going to come to a nice screen that shows you that you don't currently have any badges. There's this little plus symbol in the top right. If you click on that, it's going to ask you for a code. So there's two ways to do this. You can enter the code NaNo101 and click continue to claim. There's also scan QR code options. The web doesn't always work with the QR codes, but the apps will. We're going to mostly operate from codes just because it's easier because it doesn't matter what platform you're on, you can always claim it with a code. So when you earn a new sticker or badge, an ML or a warrior minion who's authorized to do so will send you a badge. And look, you earned a badge for coming to the workshop. How cool is that? So a quick rundown of what you can earn a badge for. Attending a virtual write-in or other virtual RDU event like today's workshop. You can get them for kickoff events. You can get them for write-ins that are hosted by a warrior minion authorized to give out badges or an ML. And you can find that on the warrior minion thread to see who's authorized to give these out. If you're at such an event, if you reach that 1667 par while you're at the event or write 1667 words since arriving at the event, we will give you a par for both of those. Hitting that daily par while you're at an event, so hitting 3,333 words on day 2 or 25,000 words on day 15. Donating to NaNoWriMo HQ will get you one. All you have to do is show somebody your halo on your profile on the NaNoWriMo site to show us that you've donated. Completing a challenge during a word sprint or writing the most or second most or whatever we say the winner's rank in words will be for the word war at an event. Completing a box of doom challenge, or if you're in Discord, a bot of doom challenge. So this either has to be in the place with the bot or a host has to have a box of doom that they can draw a challenge out. And that's just a way to get a challenge number for how many words you need to write during that sprint or word war to earn the box of doom credit. Completing a NaNoRDU social media prompt of the day. These can be found on, we post them to Twitter and Facebook, and we try really hard to get them on the forums as well, but they're not always as on time there because we can't schedule them in advance. And then there are some bonus ones that only an ML can give out. So that includes completing a prompt challenge that we give at an event. For example, a favorite is work Canadian attack geese into your story. It's my favorite example of a on-demand prompt. Donating to NaNoRDU in some way. Or just any random bonus at ML discretion because you're being awesome and deserve a sticker. And we can give you one. So that is how you earn your badges. And we are going to do some form of raffle this year. We don't have the details about it. But how many badges you earn over the course of November will translate to a certain number of entries into the raffle, in addition to the entry for showing up to our Thank Goodness It's Over party for winning a cool prize of some kind that we haven't figured out all the details yet. But that information will be forthcoming. So, any other thoughts? It looks like Mariah was going to show somebody a thing.
Yeah, Eliza got kicked off right at the time that we were talking about how to get to the forums. So I'm going to show her that. So I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah. And if anybody else has any other questions, anything you missed, anything you'd like to catch up on,
All right, so as a reminder, here is how to find the region's forums. The fastest way to do that is to go to the main Nano site, NaNoWriMo.org, and if you are homed to our region, under Community tab, you will see us as your home region. If you are not, go to Find a Region and search for Raleigh, and we will come up. We are the only Raleigh region. So then you can go to our region. And here there are a couple of different tabs. There is the Overview tab, which is where we've got our little chat space. And then there's the Events tab, which is where you can find out all about all of the write-ins and other things that we're doing. But if you want to get to the forums, right here at the top, it says, for more conversation, check out your regional forum here. You just click on that, and it takes you directly to the Raleigh-Durham forums. I recommend bookmarking this either with a regular bookmark or bookmarking one of the tabs. So that is how you get here. And this is where all of our advice, conversation starters, all of that, this is where everything's going to happen. There are a couple of threads that are really, really important. The Introduce Yourself thread, obviously, we're a big fan of. We want to get to know everyone. The Code of Conduct, that is required reading. And for anyone who has not gone through that yet, there is a secret passcode, and I will know if you do not read the rules carefully and you don't get the secret passcode. So please make sure to read very carefully so that you have the passcode. There is also a pre-nano survey that helps us make sure that we're tailoring our events and the things that we do to what works for you. So please take that. And then there is this lovely write-in planning and how to host. This talks all about how to host a write-in. And it's a great place to talk about the times that you have free and the platforms that you like, and start planning for if there is a time or a place that you feel is not covered and you would like to host a write-in. That's the place to plan and work with others to make that happen.
Okay. Awesome. This is the point at which I'm going to turn off the recording so we can have that nice and wrapped for posting later. But we will continue to take questions. So thank you all for joining us. I'm going to hit stop on the recording now.